Rick, you ready for the last one of the day?
Yes, yes, Keith, go ahead.
Great. The title of this podcast is The Shortcut is Always the Longest Road. And I was listening to I was listening to something where this parent was giving a son advice, and the son was not listening, taking shortcuts. And the father said, "Okay, just know the shortcut is always the longest road." And when I reflect on my life, that has absolutely been the case. I love these, and you've introduced me to so many of these euphemisms or timeless bits of wisdom along the way that are just like that are so true. I mean, we said one earlier today that none of it matters. It's all going away. We talked about life is just one damn thing after another. You taught me that from Churchill. So just so many things, Mark Twain, phrases that you've given me. And this one is one that really stuck with me here over the last couple of days, which is the shortcut is the longest road. And when I look at my life, and I think about the things that I've done to where I took the shortcut. And for a person who is regarded as being very disciplined, it's surprising to people that I've taken a shortcut. But let me give you an example. When I was getting those notices from the IRS that I needed to get in contact with them to talk about my taxes, the shortcut was to avoid opening the envelopes. But let me tell you what that is. Let me tell you, at the end of the day, that became a long road, a very long road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I see people do the same thing with their health. Oh yeah, there's a potluck at work or there's a birthday cake, but it's not your birthday, but they're in the cake like it's theirs, right? But when it comes to your health, that short-term satisfaction or trying to satiate yourself, that short-term act becomes a long road when it comes to your health over time. I have a friend right now who's going through a divorce, and I said, hey man, you want to make sure that this is the time, this is an opportunity to really, buckle down, get really disciplined about your physical well-being, your mental well-being, like all those things. And I said, part of the physical part is just show up to more workouts when you're not with your daughter, which is often, and show up and be really mindful about your eating. Well, he hasn't done that. And so in about 2 months, I've seen him put on 20 pounds. And I'm like, you're taking a shortcut, man. Like I didn't say this to him, I mean, it's his own journey, but that's a long road. So not only do you go through the divorce, but the price, once you have to pay the bill on these choices that you're making with a lack of exercise and nutrition, it's going to be pretty expensive. That's a long road, but you got to go through the road anyway. Why not? Why make it longer? Because you're going to take the long road anyway. You're going to take it. But you're over here messing around with shortcuts. Just get on the long road in the beginning, and you save yourself a lot of time and more than anything, a lot of suffering. I'm all about minimizing suffering, Rick. So, I mean, when someone says, "Hey, Keith, what's your boss like?" Someone said that the other day, like, "Man, Keith, like I know there's one thing that you kind of wish was different is that you wish you had a different boss." I'm like, "No, this boss is fine." Because I don't need a shortcut here. Because if I can't handle this boss down the road, I'm going to have another one who isn't to Keith 1.0's liking. And then I got to deal with that all over again. Let's get this done with now. And then whoever shows up, I'm good with in the future, no matter what their leadership style is like. So, Rick, I'm a big fan of this whole topic is I'm not about the shortcuts, Rick. I'm not about the shortcuts. And at the end of the day, you get more benefit, your growth and development comes to you a lot faster, and you save a lot of time and you minimize suffering. So, Rick, close us out with just a few thoughts on this topic that the shortcut is the longest road.
Well, I learned a lot from you just listening. I think you're exactly right. The problem that you have, let's say if you're overweight, began when you were 30, not when you're 50.
Right.
It began with taking shortcuts for 20 years. And I think the idea is that we take the shortcuts because we're interested in avoiding pain. The
Yeah.
reality is you're building up a debit account where the pain is going to be 10 times worse the longer you wait to deal with it. So I agree with everything you said, Keith. I think that's wonderful advice for our viewers. Take a moment to just get into the groove, even though it's hard, and you'll save yourself over the long term a lot of heartache and a lot of suffering.
Yeah, can you give us one more thought along that road, Rick, with
Yeah, I think what the avoidance of pain and the embrace of pleasure is sort of the rat wheel that we all get on, and I'm on it too. It's just important that you remind yourself that what I'm doing right now is I'm deferring a
yes.
problem that is going to be much harder to handle down the road than it is if I can take a little bite out of it now and start taking little bites. You don't have to solve the whole damn thing right now. Maybe you just take a couple of bites. You don't have to lose 20 pounds by Thursday.
Oh,
You just have to start doing the groove, start getting into the discipline that will allow you to have that happen at some point, and you don't have to force it. But when you're just blind to it and you eat the birthday cake every day and you avoid the gym or you avoid the IRS and you don't open that envelope, you're not doing yourself any favors.
yeah.
Honestly, it's not going to happen. I don't know. You're going to pay the price one way or the other. I don't know how you avoid going through life's obstacles. You can't. And the only way that I think the most efficient way and the least heartache is something that seems very odd, paradoxical, which is going right through it, putting yourself right in the middle of the hurricane. Let's get on. Let's get it on, man. Let's deal with this right now. And if you don't do that, the hurricane is going to develop little cyclones that will ripple off into your life in ways that you don't even expect that are going to be way more detrimental than if you handle it right now. Just get used to short-term pain is not a big deal. It's just not a big deal. You just have to shake it off and get to it.
Yeah, and I'll say this last part, and the same thing applies to the people in your life that you wish were different, whether it's your significant other or whether it's your boss at work or whatever else. The shortcut, what you think is a shortcut, is getting them to change so they're who you want them to be. Why would you want to try to make someone change? That's not the answer. You think that's a shortcut. Let me just, change them. Like, I got this. I'm working on them. They have potential. What? Like, no, they are who they are. I mean, period. Maybe you can inspire them. Maybe they'll make some changes. But you don't want to be the one who's trying to manipulate and con and do all those things. That's a shortcut that only leads to more suffering for you because you become frustrated when they don't do what you want them to do.
You become resentful. You become resentful of them
100%.
not changing.
Exactly. And your heart closes. No, you want your heart open. So don't take the shortcut. Like, and what I mean by that is work on yourself so you can handle however they show up. And then before you know it, you're unaffected by the way they show up.
And you know what else, Keith? It's not a felony if you decide that you can't work something out with somebody. If it's not something that's helpful to both of you, if
Right.
the relationship isn't providing great dividends for both of you, then it's time to move on, and that's okay. That's
That's
life.
that's it, Rick. I love you, Rick. Thank you for a fantastic show. Have a great travel back to Sedona. I love you.
I love you, Keith. Thanks again. I really appreciate being with you every Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. The shortcut is the longest road.
Yes, yes.